Here's one of the easiest and cheapest ways to grow so much food you won't even know what to do with it. Me and a few friends started this garden last year as a community garden. This is a regenerative garden. That means it works with nature to grow better soil every year, which is the opposite of conventional agriculture, which requires massive inputs of synthetic fertilizers, insecticides, and herbicides in order to grow food. With this method, your food will be better than organic. You'll never need to buy fertilizer. So here it is. We use the Back to Eden method. Now when we started out here, this garden was all pasture. So we had to tear out the sod, and next we laid a 3-inch layer of compost over the rows that we wanted to grow food in. Now if you don't have compost, you can lay grass clippings or hay or straw instead. Lay it out in 6-inch layers instead, and it'll compress down and turn into compost for you. And if you use hay, you don't need to worry about the seeds sprouting and growing weeds everywhere, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So next and most importantly, we brought in a huge mountain of wood chip mulch. We spread that mulch into a 6-inch layer across the entire garden, rows and walkways. And that's where all the magic is. It keeps weed seeds from growing because it smothers them as they sprout. And it shades the ground and holds tons of water, so we don't need to water nearly as much as a conventional garden. Nature hates bare soil and will cover it in weeds given the chance. So if you don't want a weedy garden, cover it in mulch. Over time, all this mulch has been slowly breaking down and releasing nutrients and creating this super microbially rich compost that's full of earthworm activity. Now the plants go crazy for this because the microbes in the compost work synergistically with the plants to create the nutrients the plants need as they need them. After mulching, we used a broad fork to break up the soil below, but if you're just making a small garden, all you gotta use is a pitchfork. You can use it in the exact same way. Now to plant seeds, since mulch is so good at suppressing seed growth, you have to make trenches in the mulch down to the soil level. And you can sow your seeds in the soil, and as they sprout up, you can bring in some of that mulch back around them so the weeds don't grow around them. And to grow potatoes and sunchokes, all you gotta do is make a trench in the mulch, lay down your tubers, and cover them up in a mound of mulch. This is our second year with this garden, and as you can see, it's producing tons of food. We can hardly keep up with how abundant it is. We have compost bins as well, where we compost grass, weeds, and kitchen scraps, and any produce that goes bad in the garden. We turn it into this rich, fluffy compost that we can then start seeds in the next year. That way all the nutrients created in this garden cycle back through. Sometimes crops like these pumpkins, cantaloupes, and tomatoes pop up in the compost too. We tend to just let them grow because it just means more nutritious food for us. And this year we've noticed lots of frogs and toads moving into the garden. Nature is working with us to help take care of the pest load. One of the greatest things about this garden is it doesn't get overgrown with weeds if we can't make it out here for a couple of weeks. So if you want to grow tons of food with the least amount of work, try out this method. Thanks for watching, and follow to see how I preserve this food.